Hi, this is Stacy. Thanks for joining me today. I want to go over a couple of techniques with you using Christmas Gospel by Spellbinders in the Betterpress. I'm going to use this not just in the Betterpress, but also with the Glimmer, and then again with the Betterpress with a little bit different ink. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to start out with using Glimmer on a Spellbinders iridescent black cardstock. And I'm getting my gold foil lined up onto the paper. My Glimmer is getting nice and hot. Okay, I've got my paper and my cardstock all ready to go here. You can see the shimmer that's in this Spellbinders cardstock, and it is absolutely stunning the way that it shimmers. And when you add that gold foiling to it, I knew I had to have that paper. I knew I had to have this press plate when it came out. So I'm going to put my shim on and my plate, and I am going to run this through my Sizzix Big Shot switch. And I'm back with the magic of video editing. Get these out of the way. I was going to use the remaining piece of my foil. That piece did not turn out very well, so I end up editing that part out of this video. I'm going to get the tape off of this and I will pull the foil off, and you can see how absolutely pretty this plate is glimmered. For Christmas, these make simple but very nice Christmas cards. You don't have to do a lot of extra work to them. So I peel my foil back, and it is gorgeous. So, card front number 1. Now I've got my Betterpress out, and we're going to start with a standard. Use it. This is Betterpress cardstock. Tape it to the plate using the Best Ever craft tape. I get it all taped down. I will get my plates lined up here. I basically line everything up with a star on this plate. And you can see my plate is getting a lot of love. It's a little bit discolored, but that does not at all cause any issues with the way that the plate performs, nor do I get any ink carry over from one thing to the other. So it is not an issue. If I really want to get it all cleaned up, I can, but as long as it's not causing me issues with my results, I'm not going to worry about it too much. So I'm going in with Betterpress inks here. It's bark and one of the blues. I don't remember which blue it was. I will link it in the description. So I get my bark all loaded up onto my press plate. I started out padding, and I'm not quite sure. I think it's years of stamping, and I feel like this is kind of like a stamp, but it's really a letterpress. So my brain treats it like it is a stamp there in the beginning. And I was patting, and I'm like, no, you've got to rub in order to get this onto this press plate, because we're dealing with something that's not acrylic or rubber. This is metal, and it needs that a little bit extra love. So cover plate on, run it through my die cutting machine. So I end up editing out some things because what happened was I wasn't happy with the results, but while I was re-inking, I ended up moving the Bible verse plate, and so I was just like, well, we'll move on. So here we are. Now I'm getting ready to replace all of my plates. I've got tapey fingers there. Get everything lined back up. And here is what I was so excited to share with everybody. I haven't seen anybody use this. I purchased this ink because I wanted to use it on my glimmered card fronts with this particular Betterpress plate. But I was sitting in my craft room and I was like, oh, I wonder what happens if I do this on this, and ta-da! So here we go. I am going to use interference inks here. I'm going to use the Charcoal Gold Cloud 9 Lisa Horton interference ink on the, and originally I started with the Spellbinders cardstock. It takes a little longer to dry there. So this is very inexpensive black cardstock. I would recommend using a little bit better cardstock. And if I had a watercolor cardstock, I would probably use the black watercolor cardstock. I just didn't have any, and I wanted to go ahead and get this done and try it and play with it. So there you go. You're seeing the interference ink. I am so excited about how these turn out. So rub, rub, rub. Yep, after the Betterpress plate, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to rub, not pat the inks onto the plate. So I'm rubbing. It looks gray, which is what it's supposed to look like on white cardstock. I've got my black cardstock going through my switch, pull it off. Now, it's still wet, and so it's not playing very well, but you can see the gold. I do go ahead and re-ink and run it through again. I do that because I do get a better impression sometimes going ahead and doing that twice. If I let it dry, sometimes it's okay, but usually it needs 2 passes on the black. And I think it's just because the gold is very subtle, and that just makes it need that little bit of extra inking. And here we go. Now you can see, and it's still a little wet. Once it dries here towards the end, you'll be able to see just how absolutely stunning the interference inks are on just regular old cardstock. So I'm going to re-ink this up again. Right now I'm taping another piece of cardstock to my plate. So I don't have that in frame, but that is what I'm doing off to the side there. Now I'll re-ink again. Get plenty of ink on here. Don't be afraid to get your ink on. And then I put my cardstock. This is Cougar 100 or 110 pound cardstock. I ran it through one time. And here is the result. So it looks gray, but there are tinges of gold. You can kind of see here and there that it plays gold, and it is fantastic. I was so giddy when I saw how well that did on the white cardstock. It does really well on Betterpress cardstock as well if you want a deeper indentation. And here's where I go back and I use that interference ink for the reason why I bought it, which was to kind of smooth out if you get some overfoiling on the outside, and then again over maybe the star, just add a little bit of glow, if you will, around that card. And then I don't have to worry about cleaning up any overfoiling. I just kind of rub around with my interference ink and it plays out gold and it looks fantastic, and I'm very happy with the results of these card fronts. I do end up making complete cards out of them. I don't record all of that. Everybody knows how to, glue cardstock together. So, but there you can see just how pretty these all ended up, and that is basically 2 techniques, but I changed up the ink that I was using for a completely different result. So if you don't have a glimmer machine, buy some interference inks and you will be very happy with the results. So I hope you enjoyed this video and have fun.